Hey guys, what is up? Today we're doing a bit of a different setup for this video because I want to just talk about it and I think it's something that's worth watching. So I came and stumbled across a video that was basically, the misery of female idols. I thought we would watch this together maybe. I think it would be a great experience because we shouldn't always look at the positives and the negatives. And I started watching the first minute and I thought, man, maybe this is something interesting to talk about, between us all. And I just want to keep it very chill. I want to keep this honest, we might get a little bit angry with each other. We might, agree with each other. That's totally fine. I mean, that's why the premiere is open. And I would just think, let's watch this together, and if you want, you can watch this as well. Make sure to support the people who made this video. And let's see what they say is correct or not. So I would say let's go. And of course, thank you for being here.
It's always good to be famous.
Alrighty.
Female idols often face the dangers of sexual temptation from male fans, colleagues, managers, even CEOs of their agencies once they reach a certain level of popularity.
This is something that's true as well, that in industries, and again, it's not only K-pop related. That's something I think they're going to misuse that term a lot lately, but generally when you're new to an industry, you would always try to, or the people above will always think they're better. It's just natural in a lot of people, and I think it's a terrible and disgusting way of people how they are. Like, I've experienced it nearly in every company where I worked, where people just become disgusting and they think they can do what they want with you as a person. And I'm not just saying this is with females, this is also with males.
Show, a Sistar member once advised Sohye of IOI.
Never heard of that group though.
선배들이 막 가만히 안 놔두잖아요. 남자 선배들.
보라씨 그랬었어요?
네. 그게 아니고. 그러니까 이제 뭐 선배님들이 다 착한 사람만 있는 게 아니잖아요. 남자들이. 그러니까 그냥 좋은.
If you're a rookie, the male seniors wouldn't leave you alone. Not all seniors are good. I'm not saying that you shouldn't date, but be careful.
This reminds me though, however, and again, I'm not trying to be the good or the bad person here. I'm just trying to be the devil's advocate. This just reminds me a lot of university, how many males and how many females, they can try to get with the younger people, with the younger, new attractive people that come fresh to university. And I've seen this many, many times where the men will go after the women and also females, they would also go after the younger guys that just arrived, because sometimes, of course, they might be older, they join at their own age, but it's just something interesting to talk about because it's sad to a certain point, and also because I'm not saying that it's dangerous or anything in all of the cases. I'm just saying that I've seen cases at university as well where people just misuse the situation. They misuse the idea of trust, because you would think seniors, they are working there, they're studying there long enough, they know the system, and they will, they can be humble, you can trust them, but they can also misuse that innocence, from people who just arrive in the industry. And I can only imagine like that. That's also how it is with the K-pop industry.
Goddess Chaeyeon of Dia once revealed on Happy Together that there were many male idols who wanted to get to know her, including the seniors she admires.
What they say here, again, it's the same thing as university. A lot of male elderly seniors from university, hitting on the young ladies. And that happens. I just say, again, like what the video says, it doesn't mean don't date, but it does mean just be aware of things that can happen, because people look nice, it doesn't mean they always have nice intentions. And I have learned that as well in university.
IBI also said that her former manager usually arranged her to sit next to him and once suggested, let's get married. And here comes one of the most frustrating.
I mean, that's a little bit weird, if the manager asked you to sit next to him all the time, that's one thing, but to ask and to get married, yeah, that is one level of fucked up, to be honest. I just don't understand why it is like that, but it seems like people do want to sometimes get more out of people than what they bargain for, and it's a bit disgusting at times, and this is weird.
The male manager of Pristine was once suspected of having an inappropriate action toward member Sihyun when he tried to help her cover with a blanket. At first, the act seems to be a very heartwarming thing that people do for others. But many fans then claimed that this manager was a bit too much. He put the blanket on for Si-hyun from behind, as if he was trying to hug her.
So, again, I'm not being the devil's advocate here, well, theoretically I am, but I know managers in music industries, and they want to make sure at all costs that their performers, that their groups are healthy, they're safe, and they're good to go. And normally managers, and I'm not sure with K-pop, but normally the managers become really good friends with the people that they're taking care of because they need this relationship. Now, I can understand why she's shocked. I mean, all of a sudden there's a towel around her and she doesn't know who the person is. In all honesty, I don't really think that he's hugging her or touching her. Like, if you look at his hands, they're not even close. Like, yeah, they're around her body, but they're not really, trying to touch her in a weird way or anything. He's keeping his distance, I must say. And you might think this is a little hug, but it's hard to say whether he had good intentions or not. Like, I personally would say from this, it's a very long-fetched story to say he had some bad intentions by just putting this around her.
On for Si-hyun from behind, as if he was trying to hug her.
I mean, again, you also have to see her hands were full. Like, I don't know what she's doing, but she's holding a pistol. She's holding something red. Maybe he saw that as well. He just thought, okay, I'll put a towel around her. Again, I'm not 100% sure if that was his intentions, but from this alone, from what we see here at least, and of course, we didn't hear anything about, oh, the manager already has some bad records. I think this is quite a good intention just, and some of the fans are just hardcore here.
An uncomfortable expression on Si-hyun's face. The male manager
I don't think she looks confused though. She just looks a bit like, oh, okay, and that's okay, I think. I think it's perfectly fine what he did still.
Many netizens were discontent with the close collision between the manager and the girls. Most people thought it would be better. And again,
what she's saying here, I must disagree with. Normally, it's always like that. When you have a manager and you have a group, they need to have this friendly, they need to more or less be best friends because this is the only way you can get best results. At least this is how it is in the Netherlands. Like, you have male managers and also female groups, and they are just really good friends. They're like best friends and they do everything together. So for me, this is a bit of a weird statement because how can you be so distant from your manager if the manager is basically the person who manages all your tours or basically all your performances? You need to have a good relationship with them. So I can maybe see it with the rookies, the people who are just starting off, but people who are long in the industry, it's really questionable in all honesty. You need to have that trust to a certain point.
If the company added at least
and this is twice, so it's not something small.
Such as dressing up and covering up. Number 2, improper clothes. Whether pursuing a sexy or cute concept, female idols are always wearing more revealing outfits than their male counterparts. Regardless of hot or cold weather, shorts and skirts are always the items associated with the girls.
I always thought this was a little bit weird and it's a little bit awkward. But isn't that just because that is what the fan base wants to see? And I'm not blaming all of them, but I can only imagine that this is 100% the fan base. I mean, if you think about K-pop, it's just an industry, and let's just make a comparison to an iPhone. If all of a sudden most people, let's say 90% of the people using iPhones say, hey, the iPhone is too thick, Apple is going to try and make the iPhone thinner. Or in other words, let's say the iPhone needs to be at least 2 days long running on battery. They're going to make it thicker and add a bigger battery in it or do something with it because that is what the market wants. They are adapting to the surroundings. So I don't think this is basically the managers. I really think this is actually the fans who requested, in a silent note. And on top of that, if I look at some of the fans from these female groups, every time I look at female groups, for example, Blackpink, and I can see it in the comments, I can actually see that 90% of the comments come from men, and they're very, very judgmental when it comes, or to me, judging how they appear on the videos or what I judge about anything about the video, in fact. And for me, this is just, I just think this is us, that is causing this. I mean, I don't really care what they wear. I think it's all about the videos in my point, but I can imagine they are just adapting to the market. And this is something that we have to see. And sadly, we're not talking about a product. We're actually talking about people.
Very simple. These types of clothes help them show off their legs, which will draw attention.
Yep.
As you all know, most of the award ceremonies are
That's
usually
true.
held at
Grabs
the end
a
of the year,
lot of attention.
scattered from November, December to January next year. This is the coldest time of the year. The temperature can drop to minus level. That means...
I do want to point something out though, that this is a bit of a weird statement. It might look that it's cold and it might be outside, but normally when you're on a stage like this with the lights and everything, it's quite warm. So I disagree again with what she's saying here, purely because I've experienced it as well in Moscow or places where it gets very cold. With a lot of lights, with a lot of entertainment, with a lot of people, representing in the location, it's normally really warm.
That means if you want to go out,
but they did look a bit cold there, to be honest.
Thick jackets and scarves. But the female idols do the complete opposite thing. They are forced to wear thin and short clothes when performing and on the red carpet. The materials are often chiffon or...
But hold up, like again, with the video, if we look at it...
They are forced to wear thin and short clothes when performing...
Look at the lights. You can literally see how warm it is there. by looking at the lights, you can more or less see the heat, you know, this, I don't even know where it comes from, the heat, but you can see all the heat in the background. So it cannot be cold there. You can literally see it in the lights there. Do you see it? And that's not just the blur effect from the camera. This is literally just heat from the location where they're shooting.
The materials are often chiffon.
You always have to look beyond
which
what
should
we
only
just
be
see, you
worn
know?
in hot weather. This has become a great worry to fans since forever.
I mean,
but
here you can literally see they're freezing. Again, why do they do these shows outside even? Why not just do them in the theater? I mean, that's just ridiculous, in all
things
honesty.
seem not yet to change. For instance, Lovely's is a typical case.
They look warm,
Performing at an event on January 23rd,
at least with the
girls chose
jackets.
sweet, lovely pastel outfits. But these beautiful costumes seemed useless in keeping them warm. The Lovely's girls were all shaking while performing. As you can see, all the
Aye.
members had to wear short skirts, thin coats, and it looks like none of them were wearing pantyhose. Even in the edited photos, you can
I mean, I don't understand why you would not give them pantyhose. Isn't that just a normal thing to just give them? Because when it's cold, you can even get them in skin color, for example. But that stuff really just helps, you know, with keeping you warm. I mean, if they don't have that, then that's
clearly
sad.
see their faces and eyes turned red due to the coldness. It is known that Lovely's were performing at an event in the Gangwon province. The temperature in this place at that time dropped to minus 10 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, that's
Although
crazy.
they all look very pretty in these clothes, it is clear that these are not reasonable performance outfits in such harsh weather. Just look at their faces in these photos. Do they look happy to you?
I can imagine that they're really cold, but then again, I don't get it. Why are managers sometimes, or the people who design these clothes, so stupid? I just have to agree here. I mean, this is just
When the
ridiculous.
pictures of Lovely's performance were released, many netizens expressed how they felt sorry for the girls. Most people think the stylist should put the girls' health first, instead of worrying too much about their appearances. But Lovely's is not the worst case. Before that, Red Velvet also made their fans so worried, for they have performed many times in super thin, short outfits that were obviously not warm enough. Though the girls looked extremely
You can literally see they're freezing here, you know? And you know what the worst thing actually is about this is that normally they come out of like their vans or, you know, locations where they wait until they get called up and it's nice and warm in there, nice and toasty. But then you go on the outside and it's cold and your body just reacts so much worse, you know, because you're going from a nice temperature to a very cold temperature very quick and your body has no time to really react to it, you know? So
beautiful and energetic on stage. When no one noticed, they quickly huddled together and held each other's hands to dispel the cold, while still managing to keep a smile. That's just so heartbreaking. This is not the first time Red Velvet had to perform under cold weather in such fragile outfits. Again, at MBC Gayodaejeon, these poor girls continued having to perform in -1 degree Celsius. They even
But then again, you can literally see the heat though. Like, do you see the heat the heat coming from? I don't know where it comes from, but you can more or less see these lines everywhere. And I'm not really sure if this is light. This has to be heat. That is the only element that causes this. You know, when the air has this, I don't even know what it's called to be honest, but you know when heat is coming up and you look from a distance, it just starts waving the air a little bit. That's what you see here going on. So there must be heat from those lights at least. So I think some of these examples are really good, but then some of them I'm thinking, it's questionable because like I said, you know, I've worked on events and normally when it's cold, a lot of the lights create a lot of heat. A lot of the equipment creates a lot of heat. A lot of the people being there creates a lot of heat. So yeah, it's questionable what we see here. I mean, what do you guys actually think? You know, just put it in the chat actually.
In contrast with Red Velvet, BTS's outfits look way warmer than that of the girls. The female MC standing in the middle was also dressed in a super thick coat and gloves, while Red Velvet had to wear miniskirts, no jackets or pantyhose.
Yeah, that's just stupid. And also it just is weird to the theme because if you think about it, why would you have everyone wearing like a jacket or anything and they have to wear these type of clothing? It doesn't really add up at all actually
Similarly,
here.
at the Seoul Music Awards on January 25th, most female artists appeared under negative weather in revealing outfits, showing off thighs and shoulders. Mamamoo were so cold that they
But who do
even
we
had to hug
blame
each
here
other
again,
while
you
doing
know?
an interview.
They're doing this because this is what the fans want to see. It's not just because the managers do it because they want to punish them. It's literally because of us to a certain point. And we judge them as well. Like the fans judge all these groups. And because of this, they need to go through this, you know. I think there's a double-edged sword here. I don't want to say it's just us or the manager's fault because theoretically I would just say, hey girls, wear something nice and warm, you know, it's cold. But I can also understand it from their point of view to say, hey, you know, the fans really want to see it. You know, we have 30 million guys watching you right now live on YouTube or wherever they're live streaming on VLive or whatever. You better get ready for it, you know. And the girls also feel somehow guilty if they don't do it. There's a lot of elements to it that we're skipping here somehow. It could be a little bit deeper when it comes to the psychological factor here.
Not to mention, besides having to suffer from thin clothes under freezing weather, these types of outfits are often too short and thus make the girls uncomfortable when performing. Even when they have protection shorts on, they still cannot be able to feel comfortable in this situation. If female idols keep being forced,
you can just literally see how uncomfortable she actually feels doing this. Like, yeah, I would also feel a little bit uncomfortable. And then again, I just have to say it again. Whose fault is it? Like, what do you guys actually think? Do you think it is the production team? Do you think it's the stylist? Do you think it is the fans? I personally would say it's a lot to do with the fans because, like I say, K-pop is nothing more than a business, and they're adapting to their, to their standards. I mean, that's what I see of it. You know, it's all based on what we want. If we want this, the companies are going to do the best to give it because then we get money out of it. You know, that's how it works normally.
Mistreat their physical
It's
health
it's
and
it's really
mental
messed
health
up.
like this? How soon will they collapse? Number 3.
A little bit of a fun fact, by the way. So when and this is what I'm trying to say. Like when we look at their legs, for example, and we want to sexualize these women, and that's what they're trying to say here in short. Again, when I was looking at some of my videos and when I look at Blackpink or when I look at Lisa, what is really weird about these type of videos is that you would presume, that because here she says a lot of male audiences, a lot of the males, when I looked at the ages, were approximately, 35 to 50 years old, which I thought was very extreme because when I look at some normal videos from any other groups that I look at, even Red Velvet, for example, or I don't know, ITZY, the average is around 25 to 30. So 20 to 30. So it's a bit awkward again, to see these extremes. And I can understand it again, like it's a little bit disgusting. I don't understand why these people are so extreme with their commentary. They basically judge everything. Like the older the people get, it seems as it's more judgmental they are. But I also have the feeling that this is the group where they get the most money out of. This is the group where they get the most the cash grab from, because they are the people that have a good income. They most likely work already, and spending 10, 20, 20, 30, 40, 50 euro on an album is not a problem for them. And this is what they know as well. This is what those companies know, and they utilize this information for their profits.
High heels nightmare. Performing on high heels is very common among K-pop female idols.
Oh, I
Because
would
high
not
heels enhance
love
the beauty
to
of the
go
body
on
and
high
are always
heels.
considered as an indispensable weapon of women. With the working intensity and dense schedule of female idols, wearing high heels every day is inevitable. And of course, most female idols suffer from the terrible side effects of high heels.
Isn't it that the heel or something becomes very fragile and it hurts a lot, or at least the part above the heel? Like there's something going on there,
On the
no?
show Knowing Brother, Hani of EXID revealed that she has ingrown toenails due to wearing high heels regularly. Specifically, B. Rain asked if Hani is suffering from ingrown toenails or not. Hani confirmed that she was, although the question is quite sensitive to a girl. The female idol said that having to wear high heels constantly on stage and at
It
events
presses the feet together,
led to
no?
a deformation on her toenails and made her extremely hurt when moving. She once had to take off her high heels while performing because she couldn't stand it any longer. However, she then faced many criticisms from extreme fans since they thought.
Yeah, but this is the first time that she actually says it. They get a lot of criticism from the fans, and because of this, the company has to take action. It's just terrible how fans are. I mean, does it really matter if she dances on high heels or if she dances just in her
She was
socks?
just trying to get attention. Former member of Nine Muses, Hyuna, also shared the consequences she.
Funny actually, Nine Muses, because I just mentioned it as well. They had a hard time as well. I think they still exist.
suffered
I just
after
never looked
10
at any
years
of their
wearing high
MVs.
heels. The fourth toe on my left foot is deformed. My left pelvis also cracked. To conclude, wearing high heels may make the girls look beautiful, but it causes a terrible consequence on their health. Number 4.
And you have to think about it. It's not just wearing high heels, it's dancing with high heels, meaning if you move with them and, you do hard movements, you put a lot of pressure at constant time, on your feet. This is, I always question this actually. I just think normal shoes are just much more comfortable, but yeah, what can you say about it? It's not good, but it's just an industry standard, I would say.
The obsession over weight. Female idols often face huge pressure from both the agency and the public in terms of weight. Even the legendary idols like IU, Ailee, Eunji, or Suzy couldn't avoid criticisms around their weight when first debuting. Therefore, almost no girl dared to neglect their scale.
And again, this is all the fans, if you think about it. I think it's just terrible that people are just too judgmental, instead of minding their own business and, getting out of their little basement, they should just go out maybe themselves and start dancing, to see what they have to do and how tough it actually is. But, everyone is a little warrior when it comes to sitting behind your computer and trying to make, say something and type something, or it's just terrible. This entire 2020, I just want to say this is where it really just got terrible in my opinion. In 2020, you can just see that everything is just virtual right now, and everyone is now a soldier of something, and it's just terrible. I think people should just sometimes know their places and just be quiet.
To maintain a standard body, many female idols apply very strict diets.
And this is something as well. So I posted a picture about Taemin. Taemin has gained weight now since he's in the military, and I personally say he looks much better. But I'm just amazed how many comments were there where people were judging Taemin on the way he looked. And I'm just saying, what is wrong with the way he's looking? He looks quite good. But instead, people were really just judging him to say, oh, he looks like this because of his dancing and he has to and da-da-da-da. That doesn't make it better. If he is under dieted and he is not, physically 100%, that's not really good. And some people even say that he is on a diet. I think these diets are told by them what to do because they want to make sure that these people stay in shape. But I'm just curious what will happen, once Taemin gets out of military, because it's questionable. He was the smallest in SHINee, so I'm actually thinking about maybe he will be the the buffest, from all of them. Let's see what happens.
Some of the diets can bring immediate results, but are really harmful, especially IU's diet: an apple for breakfast, 2 sweet potatoes for lunch, and a protein shake for dinner.
That's terrible, especially if you do dancing, the protein shake is okay. The potatoes, I really don't understand that. It's just tasteless. The sweet potatoes, that's kind of okay. But an apple, bleh. Come on, eat something proper.
This should be called a starving diet instead of a weight loss diet.
This is terrible. And if you people say that this is healthy, like if you look at this list, I want the people to say if this is good, to do this yourself for a year. And I want to see you guys then, because there are just people that just babble on, that bark, and they don't even know the outcome from all of this, So
lost diet.
I think this is terrible.
Red Velvet performed their new song Red Flavor on Show Champion. During and after the performance, Wendy attracted a lot of attention because of her super slender figure. Even a few ribs were exposed. Many fans were shocked at Wendy's appearance, since she was getting thinner each time Red Velvet came back. When Wendy first debuted, she used to be criticized a lot for her chubby appearance.
Criticized again by the fans.
The female idol tried everything
Just terrible.
to lose weight, from applying a starving diet to skipping rope hundreds of times a day. But the result didn't come out as she wished. Instead of being praised for losing weight, Wendy was once again criticized, but this time for being too skinny.
That's just terrible. If we keep criticizing people, what are they going to do next? They're just going to jump off a bridge because they don't see a way out. I'm not good when I'm big. I'm not good when I'm thin. Some of the fans are just disgusting. And I think this is a big problem anyway with K-pop or generally any music industry. When people come judgmental and they cannot say something by themselves, this is the outcome. A lot of negativity comes out of it. So
there was a time when Jennie of Oh My Girl weighed only 38 kilograms. Doctors said that the female idol was suffering.
38. Think about it. 38. I weigh around 70. No, I weigh around 86, 85 or so. Just so that, think about it. That's 2 of me, and I am quite okay. I'm big, I'm very tall as well. But think about it. That is basically 2.5 of her inside of me. That's freaky. Think about it. That's
from anorexia. Since
terrible.
August 2016, Jennie's condition has not improved. So
I remember actually a moment when I met a girl from anorexia. She got it from university, and she all of a sudden disappeared. But she was losing weight, and we were like, "What was wrong with her?" And then we found out that she was basically dealing with anorexia, and she said that's basically because of all the pressure she got from everyone, talking about her weight, about things like this that were just how do I say it? They were just forcing her in her head to think she needs to do it. And at the end of the day, she got such a bad knockout, aka she really had to be hospitalized because her bones were showing, and it's just terrible. You know, guys, stop judging people. And I'm not saying guys like only males. I'm talking about everyone should just stop judging people on how they look.
Management company agreed to
it's
let
not
her
fun.
suspend activities. In November 2017, Chin-E announced her departure from Oh My Girl as well as WM Entertainment due to health reasons.
Like I just said, health reasons. You don't find out what they actually do. Like I never figured out what they do, but it's just so scary that they just disappear like that. Like, you know, we judge, then they disappear and we're like, huh? What happens, you know? But this is reality.
Just look at her arms in this picture. There's hardly any muscles on them. At that time,
that's terrible.
This picture had become viral and worried a lot of fans.
Like,
Number 5, periods.
It's disgusting, you know?
In fact, this once a month thing that every girl has to go through is a big nightmare for almost all female idols. Periods for sure make them extremely uncomfortable when performing on stage. However, they still have to act like nothing.
Like, I'm not a woman, but I can only imagine the idea of going live on stage when you have your days. I can understand the word uncomfortable. I mean, that's a little bit of an undertone.
So that the audience won't notice anything strange. In the pot stand show, Xi'an's confession received sympathy. She said, "I hope everyone recognizes the struggle of girl groups when going through the sensitive days every month." Also, during the show, Heechul had an open conversation with...
What show is this actually? It would be cool if we can look at this show and watch this maybe together as well, maybe next week or so, and then we can talk about it. I want to look at a little bit more of this type of content as well, rather than just MVs, because there's just so many elements to learn from, and there's such a big psychological factor behind everything, you know?
At first, he seemed a little bit startled, but then joined the story. Heechul said, "I'm quite close to many girl group members. Many of them have shared about this. They said that during that time, they felt like they're dying." He continued, "I heard it was a very difficult time because the girls became extremely sensitive and tired, but had to keep smiling because that's what celebrities do. Things do not stop there. Female idols often have to participate in..."
It's always good though, you know, if you at least have someone from, as weird as it is, sometimes it's good if you have someone from the opposite sex that can actually agree with you to say, look, we understand it. Because actually it just shows that we men can understand it. It doesn't mean that 90% doesn't understand it, but that's their problem, you know. But I can understand how good this actually is for them as well. It just gives them a bit more mental support. Who is that guy actually? I've never seen him before, but good for him, you know, supporting people.
In a lot of variety shows, reality shows, game shows, and overnight tours. Because tampons are so inconvenient, sometimes they have to take contraceptives to delay their periods. This is for sure not good for their health at all, but since they have
really
to
bad
record
for
for a
the
long time, they have no choice. They can't just rush to the bathroom
emotions.
in the middle
Well, not
of the
the
record.
emotions, for their internal balance. What do you call it? I can't think of the term at the moment.
In fact, this issue is less discussed as it is considered very sensitive, but Pristine's confession has helped people realize the difficulties female idols are facing. Women's periods should be seen as a totally normal biological thing that they don't need to feel ashamed of every time they mention it. As we can see,
it's something that I learned as well over all the time. I don't know why, but we are what we are, and we should be less ashamed of how we function because that's how it is, and we can't go around it. I mean, we just need to stop pretending as if, you know, people from Korea, people your neighbor, or I don't even know who, but it doesn't even matter who, that all of a sudden we can change and pretend it's all normal. So yeah, that's a good idea, I think.
Becoming a female idol is never easy. All the girls in this industry have sacrificed a lot every day. So what do you think about the disadvantages of being a female idol? Which one do you find the most serious? Comment your thoughts down below. I'll read them all. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more great content. Thank you for watching.
I'll be honest, this was actually a really good video. So for me, this video is... It just shows how I don't want to say how messed up the industry it is, but it just shows how many angles there are and how crazy this is. I mean, I just don't understand why this is still something that is not talked about more. And maybe this is just the Korean culture, that they want to hide a lot of issues. And I've maybe noticed this myself as well when I was working at Korean companies, that when there was an underlying issue, to bring it to the table was something that was never fun, because they want to hear it, but at the same time, they just don't want to acknowledge it. So this is just terrible, I think, that it's happening. But I would just say, We need to all just stop judging. Let the celebrities get what they want. In theory, I even have an idea that a lot of the music that we see today is not because the celebrities want to make it, the artists want to make it. It's purely because we want to see X, Y, and Z, so they're going to produce X, Y, and Z. Music today is not like music 30 years ago. Music in 20 years is going to be completely different from what we see now. And I just think this is just crazy that... yeah, it's a big thing that I just think that we need to look at more. And by watching these videos, you can see that there's a lot of mistakes as well going on in the industry. A lot of these mistakes, categorized only as being happening in female K-pop groups. However, I just don't think this is only K-pop related. This is generally everywhere. I've seen these kind of things happening nonstop. I've seen it at university, with men trying to get with the new freshlings coming in every 6 months, every semester. Something like that can happen. At companies, I've noticed as well that people working there already for a longer period of time just have such a big status, and then the younger people look up to them for support, to maybe rank themselves up as well. I've seen this happening as well a lot, and it's just how the world is turning at the moment. Like, I don't know how we're going to get out of it, but I really think the first big step is actually by us and the fans maybe stop judging what they're looking like, what they're doing. And that's just my personal opinion. I think a lot of it is our fault. Even I am part of it. I'm making videos, I'm judging the cinematography, but at least I'm not trying to judge how they look or how they dance or anything like that. I'm not a big fan of doing that because I still think they can do it much better than me. And in all honesty, a lot of people should just shut the fuck up. It's that simple. But that's actually the video for this week, guys. I mean, I hope you guys enjoy these kind of videos for Saturdays. I want to do this a little bit more often like this. We can just watch something together. Maybe there's something cool happening, maybe not. But for me, this is just a nice way to talk to you guys during the time as well and have a good time. Let's enjoy the time. And of course, make sure to use your discount code below with the Fuku website. You get 50% off with using the code GENKILA15. Make sure that it's a capital G for your 50% off on the fuku.com website. Oh no, sorry, fuku.shop website. And guys, thank you all for being here. I hope you enjoyed your 33 minutes, 35 minutes of a video. And of course, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you subscribed, and let's do this together. We need to have a fun time. So maybe we can stream this, maybe not, but I'm working on different content as well. So let's keep the community growing and bring in the good ideas, guys. You all part of it, and I really enjoy it. So I'll catch you on the next video, and put your suggestions down below on what you want me to review next. So I'll see you then.